Alright guys, Alcrux here. I just wanted to come at the end of the video and give you guys a little bit of insight into how I itemize, how I scrolled my items, and how to get the most out of your Demon Avenger. Alright, so first things first, I got 3 totems from Sengoku High. Each one gives you 12 attack, and the only one that matters is the one that gives you strength. The reason for this is because strength is a secondary stat for Demon Avengers, right? None of them give you HP, so it doesn't matter after that point. Now, after that, I got a Revengeance Ring. This Vengeance Ring has 2 prime lines, right? Drop rate and 12% HP. And because of this, I opted to make this Vengeful Ring into a drop ring. I have a Master SS Ring in storage right now, and I plan to get that to at least 21% before I start using it. The reason I'm using a Vengeful Ring or a Master SS Ring is because these are the few rings in the game that give you your stat, which is HP in this case, and a decent amount of weapon attack. Okay. Following this, I have Golux Rings, Reinforced and Superior, and Solid. Reinforced and Superior, pretty self-explanatory. I scrolled it for Golux Scrolls for its weapon attack. Gives me consistently 4 attack, right? But the Solid Ring, I scrolled using 30% HP. The reason for this is because the Golux Scrolls for Solid and Cracked only give you 2 attack for each scroll. So here I'm losing out on 8 attack. But 8 attack is not worth the amount of stat that you would be losing if you just scrolled for HP in this case, right? Because come near end game, you want as much stat as you possibly can. And generally, once you have enough stat percent, your stat becomes more important than your weapon attack. Now, that's not to say that you don't want to have weapon attack on your weapon or whatever, right? It's just a certain amount of attack is needed to outweigh your stat. Here I have a Hogtooth. You want to get a rifle bullet, but I didn't get one, but I plan on getting one in the future events. Okay. Crusader Codex, I got a leaf reset. I hear that DRPQ is bugged right now, and you could possibly get banned from trying to attempt it. In that case, if you guys are having trouble trying to get the leaf reset, I would say try getting the Ignore Monster Defense 30% set. That one will most likely be a placeholder until they fix all the kinks in that DRPQ. Okay, all my items themselves are scrolled for 30% HP. Here's my belt, 30% HP. Boots, 30% HP. Every single one of them scrolled for 30% HP. Weapon, 15% HP. You do not want to prime this weapon, is because if you prime it, you don't get any HP. You don't get your stat. That's also the reason why you don't prime any of your items. You don't get the stat that you need. Okay. Golux pendants, self-explanatory. Scroll for Golux in Golux Scrolls. Okay. This is the only item that I've icogged, and the reason for this is because it gives me a little bit of HP while also passing that threshold where you need a certain amount of attack to outweigh your stat. Now here I got 3 attack per slot along with a little bit of HP. Because of this, it slightly outweighs HP, but getting 3 attack on every single slot is near impossible and will definitely break the bank. So I advise to you guys to scroll for HP using 30% spell traces. Again, everything else scrolled for HP using 30% HP. Here I have a Neb for abnormal status duration. Very useful for certain bosses like Lotus. And then for your weapon, you want at least 30% attack and some boss. Secondary, same thing. some 30% attack, some boss. I opted for 42% attack here and no boss, which is completely fine. If you get lines like these, you want to keep them. Okay. For B pot especially, you want to go for attack. You don't want to settle for anything else. Reason for that is because boss damage in B pot can only go up to around 18% or so. But attack retains its high value. Okay? Now my emblem, I got 21 attack on main pot and 18 attack on B pot. 3% attack is not that big of a difference that warrants more spent on this B pot. And I don't need PDR. You might need PDR. The question becomes, do you need PDR? Only if your class warrants it. Okay? I don't need any PDR because if you look, I have 87% PDR already. Okay? Now, if you factor in the fact that I have 20% from nodes and my execution gives 30%, right? I'm probably at around 90%, which is completely fine. That is like a comfortable amount. Okay. Our class also gives an exceedingly amount of PDR just from our skills. We have Nether Slice, which reduces the PDR on bosses, the defense on bosses, and then we also get defense expertise, right? Along with Nether Shields having double the amount on defense expertise, right? So along all these sets, all the links, everything combined, I am at a healthy amount. Okay. Now, for your inner ability, I have crit rate 30%. There are two inner abilities that you want. You can get crit rate or cooldown reset 20%. The 20% chance to reset your cooldown. You can also get attack speed +1, but it's not as important. The reason being is because we have +4 on everything combined. So if you look at our skills, I'll go through it. Battle Pack gives us +2. Okay? Our weapon, our Fafnir weapon, is at 6. It's normal 6. Okay? So we get +2. That means that we're at 4. Now we get another 1 from Overwhelming Power passive, which gives us +1. So now we're at 3. Okay? Soft cap is 2. And we hit soft cap from this. When you hit the 4th hit, or 4th attack of Exceed, and your attack becomes purple, you get 1 attack speed. Attack speed gradually increases. So now our attack speed is at 4 with this Exceed. Okay? So we're already at the soft cap. Now, if you don't have DSI, which is what I have, okay? If you don't have this, then you can go for attack speed +1. But if you do have DSI, that's another +1. Along with the green pot, you will be at 0, which is the hard cap. So if you can see, you don't actually need attack speed +1 if you have DSI. If you don't have DSI, by all means, right? But the optimal inner ability would be 20% chance to reduce cooldown to 0, and second line would be crit rate. If you get 30% crit rate on your main line, on your prime line, on your first line, basically, I personally didn't re-roll it, and you might want to, who knows, but I wouldn't. It's something very valuable. Okay, now with all my hyper stats and all my link skills and everything combined, I am at 90% crit rate. If you go back to the gloves that I swap out for DSI, I also have decent sharp eyes, which gives me another 10%. So I'm at 100% crit rate. Okay, and then these boots give me decent combat orders. Okay, so I have 3 decent skills right there, and then I have another decent skill on my pants, decent hyper body. I would advise everyone to get decent hyper body on their pants through a neb, because that gives another 40% HP. Okay. Alright guys, before I go, I just want to reiterate that you will not be priming any of your items except for one, which will be your heart. The reason you prime your heart is because you cannot scroll using spell traces into HP. You can only go into attack. Now, in the gloves case, 3 weapon attack is completely fine. It warrants using spell traces, but you can get way more attack on a heart using primes, right? So here I have 120 attack, which is an absurd amount of attack, and pretty much is basically another weapon, right? Now, along with this, right, I have a ton of attack percents. So if I take it off and I show you guys how much my range gets increased, my range gets increased by 1.5 million just from 120 attack and 21% HP, obviously, right? But if without the 21% HP, I would probably gain around like 1,200,000, right? So it's an absurd amount of attack that will benefit you immensely in the long run. Okay, so that was my explanation for everything, and I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to ask, and see you guys later.